Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money. We're here to help you master your mindset and maximize money. I'm your host for today. I'm Jade. Hey, y'all. Hey. Today, we're discussing the trend of celebrities, including Black women, of course, turning to platforms like OnlyFans to due to financial pressure and societal expectations, right? I don't know if there's an expectation where a lot of women in Hollywood in particular feel that they have to show their body or go into these sorts of platforms in order to generate income. But we're going to have that conversation. And specifically, we're talking about the decision of Camille Winbush. I know folks, as y'all are coming in, may remember Camille Winbush. She was a cute little girl on the Bernie Mac show, and I used to really love that show. And she joined OnlyFans. She made that decision to join OnlyFans, and it has sparked a lot of discussion on social media about the choices celebrities make to ensure their financial stability sometimes. And so we know that Hollywood is known for its instability and fluctuating nature and all of these things creating financial anxiety for many people. So we're going to have this conversation today with our queens, Miss Athena Gardner. She's a CPA and women's wealth coach. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey.
Hey. We also have Miss Tiara Williams. She's an actress, singer, and producer. Call her Miss Black Hollywood. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. That red is just giving so much life to this panel. So yeah, we're having this conversation today, and you're tuned into Fly Nubian Money. We're here on weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So be sure to text the word Queens to the number 87948. That's 87948. That way you will be notified when we do go live, when we have special offers and things like that. So, ladies, let's just kick off this conversation. Camille Winbush, beautiful Black sister. She's young. We saw her grow up literally in Hollywood. And she did an interview recently and she talked about she made the decision to go to OnlyFans because she wasn't getting calls, she wasn't making a lot of money in Hollywood anymore. And we're gonna take a listen to the video shortly, but I want to just sort of have a general opening question or discussion about your thoughts on the influence of platforms like OnlyFans. Let's start with you, Athena.
Well, OnlyFans was originally created as almost like a Patreon. So when other creators could just come on, monetize their gifts and talents. Now, especially during the pandemic, OnlyFans took off because the sex industry kind of made headways with OnlyFans. So now people automatically assume if you're on OnlyFans that it's some kind of sexy, racy, nudity related thing, when really it's just for everyone. It's just that that industry has really made a mark there. My opinion on OnlyFans is this: I personally would not be on there. But for some women or men to make a way in this economy, I understand life choices may cause you to go down that path. And also, I want to also shout out to the other creators who are on there who are doing wholesome things like having cooking channels or spiritual channels or whatever they're doing. So in this scenario with Camille Winbush, I want to talk about that in detail further. But I think initially when I saw the headlines, I was like, oh, girl. But after listening more to what she had to say and researching what she actually said, I'm fine with her being on there.
Thank you so much. So yeah, Tiara, I wanted to get your thoughts on OnlyFans. What do you think the impact is, the influence of these sorts of platforms that are highly sexualized? What do you think the impact is on like popular culture and the Black community in particular?
Well, that's a loaded question. I didn't hear about OnlyFans. I knew nothing about OnlyFans until I heard Beyonce mention it in a song, right? Like she said something like, in demon time, I might start an OnlyFans. And I remember I was like, oh, well, what's that? Because it became so popular, people flooded to it. And I don't know if it was just because Beyonce said it, but I do remember that big how I found out about the platform. I've only associated that with sex workers. So, somebody asked me not too long ago if I would ever
having OnlyFans? Probably not. And I would just say, just because what it kind of has come to represent, it wouldn't be a good look for me. You know, having a teenage daughter, I would never want her, even if it was for, I could host acting classes on there and I still wouldn't do it because what it has come to be associated with. You know, somebody's like, oh, your mom was on OnlyFans? You know, immediately somebody's going to think, you know, I'm tooting and booting, and I don't want that. That's not what I'm looking for. So, you know, like Athena said, I think, you know, you got to do what you got to do, but I don't know if you got to do that. Like, just, you know, me working in Hollywood and me understanding the lay of the land. I've been here for almost almost 20 years of my life, and I've worked in this industry consistently, and I've never had to do anything provocative or sell my soul. I'm not saying that there wasn't opportunities to do so, but you know, you just be like, okay, I can't do this. You just gotta be. Well, we'll get to that, but for the most part, I just think that OnlyFans is not the only option.
Thank you so much for that insight, and especially for as coming from someone who's lived in Hollywood and worked in Hollywood, you know, for 20 years. I'm sure there's a lot of temptation and things out there and offers. If you're just tuning in, we are having this conversation. The Bernie Mac show star Camille Winbush went viral over the last few days with an interview that she did, and she was talking about her decision to go onto OnlyFans, and it sparked a lot of controversy. We're going to go to that video and take a look at it. In the meantime, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We're here at Fly Nubian Queen TV's YouTube channel, weekdays live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Oh, those Bernie Mac checks must have dried up, or like from a job 20 years ago when I was a 12-year-old. Yeah, like duh.
Because we think the residuals are still coming through though.
I mean, they do, but
it's not.
We weren't. I wasn't. Listen, if I was on Friends making $1 million an episode, yes, those residual checks would still be very nice. But as time goes on, they get smaller and smaller every year. You're not making the same amount that you were when the show was current per episode.
Right.
So as someone who was just a kid, don't get me wrong, still making good money, but 20 years later, those checks are not sustainable for a living. With the industry being as fickle as it is, you can't count on any job to last or even to book a job. So over the years, I have done regular 9-to-5s.
Oh, wow.
I owned an ice cream shop for 3 years when I was a teenager.
Wow.
And I funded that with my own money. I taught gymnastics to kids where I was making like $11-12 an hour. So I've done that.
Wow.
But if I can find a way to make enough to buy a home from the comfort and safety of my own living room, why wouldn't I do that?
Shout out to her. Shout out to everyone in the chat who's just joined us. We just heard directly from Miss Camille Winbush, and she was talking about her decision to join OnlyFans. As you all are coming into the chat, make sure you just let us know what city and state you're coming from. Okay, now, Athena. Watching that video again just made me really, really sad because one of my mentors, Dr. Boyce Watkins, started the Black Business School, and he teaches us, and I know you're a financial women's wellness coach, Athena, teaches us the importance of investing and creating Black millionaires of tomorrow, teaching our children how to save, how to invest, and to start businesses to secure their future. She admitted that she was making good money when the Bernie Mac show was on when she was 12 years old. That was a long time ago. So I can only imagine if a quarter of that money was invested 20 years ago so that she could have, I don't know, tripled it or made it, grow tenfold. what the impact of her life would be now. Like she wouldn't be forced to go on to OnlyFans and stuff. So I wanted to get your take on this from a financial and generational wealth perspective. When I just listened to her speak, it made me sad in particular because I was wondering if she had anyone around her that will really help her grow her money and coach her financially. What are your thoughts, Athena?
Well, my thoughts are this, and it's important that all of us have financial literacy. And even the other day, I was seeing how Yo Gotti didn't know he had to pay property taxes on his home, right? So celebrities are not immune to understanding finance and money. And also, I think it's important to point out that Camille was a childhood star, meaning that her parents were responsible and were probably fiduciaries of her money or what she was making at the time. So oftentimes, especially when we come into the limelight, your family history and what you were taught is what you do. Now, I commend her for actually taking some of that money and starting her own businesses. She said she funded an ice cream shop with her own money. She said she tried to teach gymnastics. Sometimes it takes a lot. There's a lot that comes with business acumen and actually making a successful business that create cash flow. I know Dr. Boyce teaches that a lot on the Black Business School. I know I teach that for women on my platform as well. So even though you may have the money, trying to take the money and turn it into something else is a whole separate skill. So she may have had issues with that. And a lot of us have issues with that. What I will say is this: you are correct, Jade, in that if she probably would have been taken a quarter of that money, put it in even in an index fund, and just let it sit and do what it is supposed to do, she probably could have been earning residuals. But according to what I've read online about her situation, if she has made $1 million off of OnlyFans, or she's making $50,000 a month off of OnlyFans, even then it might not have returned as much as she's making right now. So the OnlyFans thing is it's so enticing because of the earning potential that I can see how it can seduce someone into taking that option.
Thank you for that analysis, Athena. Tierra, for me, this raises a larger question, and I would love for you to speak to this as a parent and as someone who's in the industry in Hollywood. This raises a lot of questions for me and anxiety as an educator about the adultification of children in Hollywood. Was she put in a position to be an adult, and was she expected to know how to do these things and to take on that role as a provider for her family? I wanted to get your perspective on that angle of this conversation.
I'm not sure if I'm not sure if she had to, you know, if she had to provide for her family. But I know, just as having a daughter who is also in the industry, my daughter is 13 years old, and she's worked on shows like Abbott Elementary and just all of these different things. And I know that her dad had to take and invested a very, like, it's an effort to, take them to auditions, take her to auditions, take her and coach her. And we're doing that together, but it's a process. And so if he's taking her to set and staying on set with her for 8 to 12 hours, that doesn't allow him to work, right? So if he's working as her manager, it kind of puts him in a situation where he has to take a piece of that to just a piece of it to pay for whatever, or so I think families like that find themselves having to, as much energy that they're investing into their children, they kind of have to. It's a family business. The kid is a family business. Now, my daughter is not 100% working as an actress, right? So we're not forcing her to be a child star. We don't That's not, because a lot of that is them losing a lot of their days. I remember she booked the show, and for the whole summer she worked on this show, and she was just like, I want to go outside. Kids there all day, they ran around, they had fun, but there was a part of her like, I just want to enjoy the summer. I was like, yeah, she should be able to enjoy the summer. I understand that she has checks coming in. So when she was done with that, we nested that. There was a time when my daughter had like $15,000 in her account, and we just nested it, and we started a savings for her, and we got her a vending machine, and Just little things that we've started to do for her, but not taking any of her money, right? Like not us taking money, but sometimes using that to reinvest into acting classes and stuff like that. So I'm not sure. So that's my perspective on that. When it comes to Camille, I'm not sure what their family dynamic was, but I know that having even watched parents, I met Marseille and her mother Carol in IKEA once, like years ago. And often my daughter has glasses kind of like Marseille, and they kind of look alike. They get that all the time. Like people will bring her in because people say, "Oh, she kind of looks like Marseille." And so after that I was able to kind of like not befriend them, they're not my friends, but like I see them on Facebook, and I'm watching how they've made that into a family business. Her mother is with her 24/7. They are flying from here to there, to fittings, to this, to that, to that, and that and I they started a production company. So like Marseille is working, but like you really see a lot of her mother's life being poured into, and I'm sure that was the plan, right, when they moved from Texas. But a lot of her life is poured into Marseille's life, so they have to benefit, they have to make money, from being their manager. So those are my initial thoughts. It's a lot of work. I mean, when I watch them, it's just like, wow, I'm tired and I'm just watching.
Yeah, I can only imagine
Yeah.
what that's like for children to be childhood stars and actors and actresses and to have that level of responsibility and also to be able to make that amount of money.
Yeah.
So what I thought about was definitely the adultification piece. We want to protect our children even when they are in entertainment to make sure that they are not growing up or taking on too much responsibility than they should as young people, as children. So that was something that struck me. And definitely, Athena, the financial literacy piece, the investing piece, the piece where we say, hey, let's get my child all of the available resources possible so that they can invest their money, have more than one business, and be set up for the future. So, in watching that clip, I felt so many things. I was thinking about those larger issues more than her decision to go on OnlyFans and model or not. Now, I am not on OnlyFans. I've never seen an OnlyFans, just so y'all know. So I don't need people in the chat. Just in case anybody wanted to try it today to ask, if I was on OnlyFans, I don't have one. However, if that's what people choose to do, that's what they do. I know that there are so many other options out there for our people, for Black women, Black girls in particular. We don't have to resort to that. So I would love for us to continue on this conversation, speaking to larger issues about pay disparities in Hollywood in particular. So
Ooh,
we know
child.
that, yeah, Black China has reportedly made nearly $250,000 on OnlyFans, but there are other
quarter
people that have made
billion,
how
a quarter
much?
a $250 million, almost nearly a
Quarter
quarter
billion dollars. Yes, on
billion with a
OnlyFans
B.
with a B.
With a B.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the M. There's a B. $250 million.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So that
Hmm.
should be $360
Oh,
billion
over.
on
No, no,
OnlyFans.
no, no, no. She's a $250 million.
Quarter
So she's
million.
right
Okay. I was
over.
like, wait,
It's right.
a quarter trillion? Okay, got you. So
No,
yeah, but still,
that's right.
like, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of
And Black
money.
China is now acting. I know she's doing some things. I think I've seen her in a show on BET Plus that my mom watched. My mom watches all of those shows. But so many other actresses have sounded the alarm about pay disparities in the entertainment industry. Tierra, we've heard from Monique. We've heard from Taraji P. Henson. Taraji was very, very vulnerable and very, very
Mhm.
authentic about her experience. And she got ran down essentially. People were literally like trying to drag her, Athena, on social media for saying, like, hey, there are pay disparities within Hollywood for Black actors and Black actresses. I have been snubbed. And
Yes.
I know that Gabrielle Union, we have a clip we can show of Gabrielle Union talking about the financial anxiety she feels even when she does well, she'll do a film that does well, but then the waiting period, not knowing if she's going to be booked again, like that's a thing, Tierra. So can you
It's
tell
a
us a little bit more
thing.
about that? And then Athena, I would love for you to weigh in after Tierra.
Yes. I wish I had the SAG-AFTRA stat. I don't have it in front of me, and I'm sorry, but like I remember seeing that it was like um actors worked maybe like an average of like 3 jobs in a span of like 5 to 8 years or something like that, right? And that's just like, everybody is not in that top 1%, right? It's like that 1%, and then 99% of other people are just trying to figure out how to pay their bills. I know Billy Porter, a couple months after our strike last year, went into foreclosure on his home, and he was like, we're very much living, and I mean, he's on TV, he's on red carpets, he's all over the place. But I think he said something in his interview like, you know, if you don't have FU money, you're very much living from check to check. So like you're only 1 to 2 months away from financial ruin, and then in terms of like not knowing, you can have a show on television and running on television and not have no money, right? And like Camille was saying, her show probably still runs, but she doesn't get those residuals, don't look the same. And so I mean, I don't know what her residual checks, I don't know what her deal looks like, I have no idea. But it might be a little pocket change, it might pay the rent, maybe. I mean, it's inflation, it's all the things. So she might not be able to, but it's very hard to live in California. If you think about like, I mean, you can get a house for $1 million if you have $1 million laying around, and that's just like it's just a very expensive place on top of all of the other things that you have to worry about. And so, like I was saying, it's very fickle here. You can audition and hear no all day long, right? And when you do book, it might be a $10,000 check. It might be a $20,000 check. When I sold a screenplay, I got a huge check from Universal, and then I didn't work for 2 years after that. Like, so it was like me having to nest that and get really creative about. Thank God I have an acumen for business, because I understand that, and I learned this a long time ago, that you have to be really creative about it really can't be just one source of income and rely on just being an actor. Only 1% of Hollywood can do that. Otherwise, you got to have other hustles. Like she said, she had an ice cream parlor and a shop and all of these things, and that's kind of what you have to do here. Like there's people juggling all balls, and I'm gonna share a story, but it kind of gives you a perspective. When I first moved to LA, I got on a shuttle, and there was a guy, and I always think about this because I was like, I never want to be that. So I got on the shuttle. He was like, "What you do?" I said, "Oh, I'm an actress." He was like, "Oh, me too." Right? As he's driving our bus, he pulls out this business card and hands it to me. And on there, he's like, posed like this, kind of like with his chest out. He kind of, you know what I'm saying? And it said actor, model, writer, producer, driver, like exotic dancer. I do kids' birthdays. Like it was like 12 things. And I thought that was the funniest thing. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna keep this forever. But he was giving me the game when I first, like, there's a part of that is really real. There was like 10 hyphens on there. But that's a real thing here. And I didn't learn that. Thank God I didn't have to do all of the things, but I did come here as an actress and a singer. And I was so I was gratefully on a show, and Blair Underwood was like, listen, you got to learn how to produce, you got to learn how to act, you got to learn how to do more than act, you got to learn how to produce and direct, and you know how to write. All right. I was like, okay. So I went and I worked as a producer, and then I got really hunkered down into directing and writing. It's a real thing, right? And so you just kind of have to be fluid in the way that you earn money. And that was a really long-winded, but I just wanted to share that and give you a real thing, a real glimpse. Because you can go in and audition all day, but you might not book. You hear no so often here, and what I hear in Camille's voice is like frustration. Like, I've been you can't you're going out, and even though I've been on television, people are saying no. People are saying no. There's not Hollywood is structured differently. People are working a lot less. The business is still not the same since we were striking last year. It's not up. It's not up and running. AI is, people are not being paid well. It's all of the things, y'all. You have to, at this point, want to be an artist. You have to really want to work in Hollywood to work in Hollywood. You know what I mean? You have to really like go through a lot of things that kind of are soul crushing, if that makes sense. Like, you know, you have to, I don't know another occupation where you can pour 20 years of your life into something and still not make it.
Wow.
Does that make sense? So
Yes.
anyway, I could go on and on. So I'm gonna shut up.
No, that was very insightful. And if you all are just tuning in, we are talking about the actress Camille Winbush. She went viral this week for an interview she did talking about her decision to go onto OnlyFans. So this is the topic of conversation, and we're speaking largely about societal pressures for Black actors and actresses, but particular Black women actresses, and pay insecurity, financial anxiety, and societal expectations for women, especially to go onto platforms such as OnlyFans, that, in my opinion, are very, very sexually exploitative. But hey, that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, Tiara, thank you for sharing your insight about Hollywood and the difficulties in Hollywood. Athena, my question is, I see actors and actresses on magazine covers, on interviews on television. They be on the red carpets in red bottoms. They're wearing Valentino. They're wearing all types of designers that I can't even pronounce. It still baffles me that, you know, folks have these high quality lifestyles, and I'm thinking that they're living millionaire and billionaire lifestyles. Can you speak to the point that Tiara made about, like, you can be on television and have a show and still be broke or living month to month and check to check? But Athena, how is that possible when I'm seeing folks decked out and all of these designers living this like lavish lifestyle? Please help me understand.
Listen, it is very easy to do that. We live in a society where image is so important. So as long as you look the part, you can kind of project an image that may not be real. So you could look like you have on the Gucci designer and your fridge has no food. So similar to what Tiara was saying about Billy Porter, how he's on these carpets and in these designers and he had to floor clothes in his home. Financial realities are just that. 70% of us don't have $5,000 in our bank account. More than 50% of us are in debt. Okay, so there's a lot of only 6% of Black adults in the US make 100K or more. You know, the stats paint a different picture. And that's why I love numbers so much, because numbers tell the truth. Numbers tell the truth of what is going on. As far as celebrities is concerned, right? A lot of what you're seeing also there is not real. They have teams curating looks for them. Their clothes are getting on loan by designers so they can take that image and promote that, the latest fashion, so they can get their cut from that. The jewelry is also on loan. So a lot of, it's a business. It's a business to curate an image so consumers like you and me buy into that and buy the product. Right? La Roche, who is a wonderful style architect and stylist, was recently doing an interview around Zendaya, which he mentioned that he actually buys the clothes, and the interviewer was shocked because most people don't buy the clothes. They get the clothes on loan. So a lot of what you're seeing is not real. And also, to talk about the topic of actresses and celebrities, Taraji was saying that she couldn't even get transportation, or that she had to fight for transportation. She had to fight for certain things. Her trailer was not the best. And you would think, especially even at Taraji's level, that wouldn't even be a question. That wouldn't be a question. So I think in the year of 2024, What Cat Williams said, everyone will be exposed, honey. The lid is coming off the pot. Okay, we're seeing behind the curtain, behind the veil. We're seeing everybody's skeletons all over. And I think this industry is showing us that entertainment is not what you think it is. How many rappers fall dead, have no life insurance policy, and all their little baby mama or whoever is left out to dry? You know, these are realities that we as an audience and Gen Pop need to look at and say, okay, how do we in our lives put ourselves in position so we do not fall into this trap? Because clearly the celebrities are now saying that we were paid puppets to entice you to consume and entice you to buy into these businesses.
Thank you for that point, Athena. So basically, they just renting the runway. Okay, got you. Okay, or they're like brand ambassadors to a degree. Tiara, did you want to, from your experience? Okay, you want to add anything? Okay, so also to your point, Athena, did y'all see Krishan Rock? I think I'm pronouncing her name properly. She went to her baby father's, I forget his name. Who's the baby father's name? What's his name?
Blueface.
Blueface
She went to his hearing and got arrested.
Went to his hearing, got arrested because she had a warrant from another state or something like that. So now she's arrested. Her sister allegedly is on social media asking the public to raise funds for her to get an attorney. And it said that she doesn't have toothpaste. She's being horribly mistreated and she needs representation. That's not something that I would expect from a social media star, celebrity. I don't know if she's a rapper or a singer, but I know she's pretty popular. And you made a comment just now, Athena, that I wanted to circle back to. You said that, you know, a lot of guys in Hollywood are having children and leaving their baby mothers out to dry. So that came to mind when you said that. Also makes me very, very sad. If y'all are tuning in, we are having an intelligible conversation about OnlyFans. Shout out to some of y'all in the chat that might have some OnlyFans. I don't know if y'all be on there twerking or showing your feet or whatever, but hey, it happens. Shout out to everyone in the chat who also put their city and state in there. We see you. We appreciate y'all tuning in. This is Fly Nubian Money, where we have intelligible conversations about all things money. Make sure you visit our website, flynubianmoney.com, and come over to listen to these panels live right here, weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at flynubianqueentv.com's YouTube channel. And also, yes, make sure you text the word Queens, QUEENS, to the number 87948. That's 87948 when we go live and we have spicy conversations such as this one about OnlyFans and stuff. So anywho, we're also talking about pay disparities within Hollywood, within the Black sector of Hollywood. We have a video that we're going to show and we're going to discuss. It's of Gabrielle Union talking about her financial anxiety as an accomplished Black actress in the industry. Take a listen.
And with a generation-defining hit under her belt, Gabrielle embarked on a career that would see her embracing a variety of roles and solidifying her place as the people's champ. She would also meet her future husband and fellow Renaissance human, Dwayne Wade, and begin crafting a personal brand. But the persistent racism and sexism in Hollywood would present ongoing challenges, even as her professional and personal lives continued to thrive.
I struggle with that still, just because I think I just have more responsibilities, you know, for my money. So I get nervous, like, oh God, that movie didn't open, you know, well, what does that mean? Am I gonna have enough to hold everybody up? And everyone's like, it's coming, like, calm down. And I'm trying to find peace in the journey, not using my anxiety and scarcity mindset to be my engine, which is hard. It's weird to say I'm head of household because in this household, we split everything 50-50. But in the other households that each of us have to support, it puts there's always this like gorilla on your back that it is like, you better work, you better work. You know, you gonna sleep in? You know, somebody might not eat. Come on, you gotta work. And it's hard. It's hard to let that go. So I'm working on that. Even now, from then to now, from 95, late 95 to 2023, I've never been anybody's first choice. Not black folks, not white folks. But by hook or by crook, I get a job, right? And then that movie does really well. And what they tell you is if you're a part of a movie and your character pops, then that leads to the next thing. But I really realized after Bad Boys 2 and Bring It On that how I am received by real life people is not reflected how I'm treated in Hollywood. They're completely different. But before social media, I had no way of really knowing that or quantifying that. So, because they tell you, if you succeed, then these are the roles that open up. So I'm succeeding and the door is bolted shut. And the people who are jumping the line seem to be folks that make white people in charge very comfortable. But what it did, like the social media era, me, Taraji, Nia, Sanaa, Tracy, it allowed our real world popularity to be quantified to where it was undeniable.
Okay. I heard what she said, Tiara, but it's, as someone who just watches entertainment, it's really difficult for me personally to connect to what she's saying because my perception of Gabrielle Union is so different than her actual experience that she's articulating. And I understand, I respect her experience. I appreciate her sharing that. But when I'm seeing Gabrielle Union, like, oh my gosh, it's Gabrielle Union. She's all over the place. Like, what is she talking about? Can you give some insight or like maybe a bit more of an explanation from your experience in terms of the culture in Hollywood, in terms of what actors and actresses go through and how they're treated versus how they're perceived by people like me who are just clueless?
Yeah, I think, and I mean, you're not the only one. I think you can look at someone and just assume that because they have a name and a status, that they can walk through any door that they want to, that they can get into rooms. There's still rooms that Gabrielle wants to get into in terms of films she wants to audition for. There's still roles. Sometimes I hear people say, "Oh, Gabrielle does the same kind of movies." Right? She's kind of like but she's I'm sure that in her fantasy, maybe there's things that she wants to do that allow her to stretch, that allow you to see her beyond Bring It On, and the beautiful lead actress that is in a romantic comedy. Maybe she wants to play a homeless crackhead. I don't know what the level of where she wanted to go or where she wants to go. But race plays a part. Her being a woman plays a part. Her being a black woman plays a part. It just is. It's a tough business that has a lot of politics involved, and there's you know if I'm being honest, like people that don't look like us run this industry. And so with that being said, there's you have to kind of bow and fold and move to that if you want to see those heights that you want to see. And sometimes you can move and like do all that and sell yourself, or you can mold yourself and still end up in the middle. We used to always say, like, you date a man and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have a relationship with this director and he's gonna do things for my career. I definitely have heard that when I was like actively like pursuing my in my 20s. It was like that was the thing. Like, people used to be like, I mean, yeah, I cast you. I go in, I audition. I'm talking about work on all of the things, work on the script. You go in, you audition, and you kill it, right? And then maybe like 20, 30 minutes after you do all of that, the director calls you and says, now that we got that out the way, what's up? What's up? Like, what's up? Oh, are you gonna send the screenplay? Like, is that what you're saying? Like, what's the what? Like, what do you? I already gave you what's up. So it's just like just having to deal with all of that, all of the things, all of the doors. And then, there's also this thing where you go into a you Hollywood is the only other place that I know where you could be too young, you could be too old, you can, by 30 they're like, if you haven't made it, that means that you're never going to make it. If you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too dark, you're too light, you're not this, you're that, you're constantly being told what you are not. And so I think social media does add an interesting element where you're able to monetize. You're able to create your own brands and literally go directly to the people that consume you, the people that love you. You can find your tribe, you can find your fans, and really create products around that, and create things around that. And seeing that popularity can, now catapult you. But now she's like producing films, and she's, I think she's doing her thing. And I'm sure there's some things that she still wants to do, and hopefully she's able to do that, and that anxiety, it goes away. I don't know if it'll ever go away though, because of just the nature of this beast.
Yeah, thank you for that insight. That makes a lot of sense. That gives me a lot more clarity. Thank you. And you just described a really, really unstable environment in
Yeah.
Hollywood, Tierra. So my
Yeah.
question to you, Athena, is given the unstable nature of Hollywood, how can celebrities, in your opinion, diversify their income stream so they can reduce the financial anxiety and then also have options and not have to be on OnlyFans?
Well, Athena, not just celebrities. Let us all know, baby.
Yes.
Because there's another 99% of us that are wanna know.
Well, I think you touched on it earlier, Tiara, that you realized that you had to add more hyphens, you had to add more skills, you had to add more income and revenue streams. So that is what I recommend that everyone, whether or not these celebrities do anything, everyone to do, to monetize your gifts, monetize your talents, and really to create stability in multiple forms. And that will also provide you more financial protection. In the stock market, they always say diversify your portfolio, diversify this. Diversity is going to be the key here, because even as times are changing, I do a lot with AI. AI is changing the game. So if you are relying on one source of income, especially as a single person, because that's a whole other thing. Like, I do a workshop that talks about women at different stages and the financial vulnerability single women face, because if they're out the game and they're sick, that's it. Like, there's no other income coming in. So diversify your income and support your wealth streams in that way. I would also say this. What made me cringe a little bit when I was watching Gabrielle Union was the fact that she does have a husband of high net worth that makes more money than her, that she doesn't feel comfortable in an arrangement for him to fully provide in that way, even if within their own household. So say even if she supports other family members with her own funds, but girl, to do 50-50 when you have a man that can pay that bill, to calm down this financial stress that for these acting jobs, like I question why that isn't in her.
Let me just drink my cold coffee while you continue to extrapolate.
Yeah, because
as Tiara continues to make faces, just go ahead, continue.
Yes, because I know a lot of she went under fire. A lot of people scrutinized because he had said a comment that, this is my house, and she was like, you'll never be able to say that to me again. So that's why she split the 50-50. Listen, take the stress. If he want to have the ego boost to say it's his house, all right. As long as you still have your own money, you stashing away, that would be my advice on that.
I think
what this also highlights.
Okay. I have a question for you. After you finish, but go ahead.
Okay. What this also highlights to me, and I think we discussed this, I definitely discussed this, but I know Dr. Boyce and the Black Business School discussed this as well. Ownership is a conversation. Like Rick Ross said, ownership is really important. Why is it important in this situation? Like you said, Tiara, Hollywood is owned by people that do not look like us. Let's keep it 100%. Let's keep it a buck. Since we do not have our own platforms, our own avenues, we have to succumb to the judgments and prejudices of people who do not look like us, whether that's in Hollywood or whether that's just everybody on the corporate plantation, honey, right? Because what is a stat? Black women make on average 60 cents to a white man's dollar. So until we go through the journey of building and establishing our own business and entrepreneurship, which is hard, by the way, this is a hard task to do, right? But unfortunately, since we don't have different infrastructure that we own in these different industries, we have to succumb to the pressures of those industries. Okay. I think it was Viola Davis who said they were calling her the Black Meryl Streep. And she said, how come I ain't making Meryl Streep money?
That's right.
Okay. But what Viola did, which is diversify her income stream, she's like, you know what? I'm going to do my own production company.
That's right.
With my husband. I'm gonna come up with a Woman King. And I'm going to shop it to Netflix and shop it to these other platforms and make my money that way.
That's right.
So I think that is super, super important that we all do. Because guess what? Just like Fat Joe said, yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's money is not today's money. The inflation is inflationing. And I think the celebrities are also taking note of that, because Taraji came out with her own mental podcast and her own hair care line, product, skin line.
Yeah.
Tracy Ellis Ross came out with Pattern Beauty. Like, I think all these, Gabrielle Union does all these different deals. I know she was doing fitness and all this other stuff. I think, especially in Hollywood, but for all of us included, they know that they need to monopolize on that celebrity.
Yes.
And to come up with a product line in order to smooth out and decrease the financial stress that Gabrielle was discussing.
Yes. Can I also just add that I think there's this really weird thing with family and friends that look at someone. It's, if you see one of your family and friends and they work at, I don't know, they work a 9 to 5, you don't go to them and say, I need you to take care of me. But you see someone working on television, and because the checks are a little bigger and they don't understand that those checks are supposed to last you, right? And they're still expecting you to take care of them. And Gabrielle has, she has like and this is not a negative thing, but she has the masculine energy about her, that masculine energy where it's like, I'm an independent woman, I've had to take care of myself. This industry will bring that out of you, right? Where you're like, I gotta figure it out. Like she said, I gotta figure it out. I gotta work. What, you gonna sleep today? Like, I think we all wake up like that. Like, I could rest in, but I gotta get it. I gotta figure it out. So I just think it's unfair. And maybe you can speak to this, Athena, is like why people feel like they should be able to just like live off someone else. Like, I see if she like bought her mama a house. Okay, cool. But like everybody else would have to, they'd have to figure it out. Because we all got to figure it out. Like, why do I have to take care of people outside of my home? I don't understand.
Listen, family members will keep you broke. I'm Caribbean, right? I'm Caribbean, and my immediate family does not do this, but I've had extended family ask me to send things and send me money, and they just think that because you're in a better financial position that you should be doing that out of obligation as family, but also that you have the resources to do it. But they don't understand sometimes with more money comes more expenses, meaning that if you see this nice house have a bill attached to it, and but Jay-Z said that you cannot help the poor and be one of them.
That's right.
So I think that is a huge issue within our community. I think they call it the black tax. The black tax, when the person who ascends, who goes to college or wherever, have a business and becomes successful, now all the other family members look to this one person to financially lift them up. And I remember my dad telling me something like this. He was saying that, Athena, these are grown adult people. These are not children.
Yes.
So you putting money over there is like taking money and throwing out the window. They're not going to change. They're not going to elevate. It's just going to be a one direction. And I think that is something within the Black community we have to deal with. I think Noah Trevor Noah also talked about how his mother never did that and gave him the grace of that. The black, to avoid the black tax is what they call that. There's a pink tax for women too now. That's a whole separate other tax, right? Because the pink tax is for similar products that men have. We are charged more. So like razors and certain things, like the same kind of product, it's more pricey because women are the most of the spenders, have most of the purchasing power in the household, and we consume mostly. So that's the other tax we have to pay. So black women have the black and the pink tax.
Which means anxiety.
Yes, a lot of financial anxiety, right?
2 in 5 women experience financial stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, women aren't the only ones on OnlyFans. Did y'all know, Tyga, DJ Khaled, what is Fat Joe doing on OnlyFans? Michael B. Jordan. Oh, for real? He on OnlyFans? I might have to get an account. Michael B. Jordan's on OnlyFans. Okay. Well, we see the rapper Casanova also on OnlyFans. What do these men be doing on there?
Showing that thing. They be showing that thing, girl. That's what they be doing on there.
Lord have mercy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Camille Winbush is $4 million richer than Dee Davis.
Isn't Dee also on OnlyFans? Or
yes.
No,
Yes.
the other person that did porno was Rudy. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Rudy from the Cosby Show. I know she.
No.
Didn't she do porno?
No. It's the girl that you're looking at.
Yeah, I think it was Dee.
It's Dee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
Baby girl from the Bernie Mac show.
Rudy still be working on TV, girl.
Wait,
don't do that to Rudy.
Oh, okay, my bad. I thought Rudy, somebody did some porno. I'm going to look it up. Because
No,
it was
she didn't do porno.
She didn't? Okay, my bad.
No.
Oops. Okay. Correction, delete, cancel. However, there's a lot of people showing a lot of stuff on the internet, basically, is a thing. But when they show these things on the internet, they're making a bunch of money. Bad Baby. Wow. Is that right, girl? Yeah. 59 million. Am I reading this right?
Yes, you are reading it right.
Black China, she's from DC. Millions. We talked about her. Cardi B, 46 million. Oh my gosh. I know that girl. What's that girl name? Suki Hana is on OnlyFans. All of these people are on there and they are making a lot of money.
They be showing too much. Can I get on OnlyFans and show my toes?
So let me say, are they doing like, is it like pornographic stuff or is it just like peep show stuff?
They showing that thing. You cannot get on OnlyFans and just be like teasing, like, I'm gonna show you a strap of my bra and make $59 million. You can't do it. It's not a real thing.
This is crazy.
It's like, you want to see my arm?
Like, that's what Camille Winbush is saying. She says she's just wearing lingerie. She's wearing stuff that she would wear on like a women's magazine, like a what kind of women's magazine?
Who said that?
Camille Winbush. That's what she was saying. She's like, she's covered up. She's like slightly like lingerie, stuff like that. Her parts are covered because her criticism was, why is it such an issue? She does it on OnlyFans when actors and actresses insinuate and stimulate sexual and nude scenes in movies. She was like, what's the difference?
That's true. I thought she was popping that thing. Listen, I've never been to her page. I don't think I'm going to get on OnlyFans to see what she's doing. I mean, I just, like you said, there's an assumption that, like, if you're making that much money, then you must be doing something risque to do it.
Oh my goodness, y'all. What do y'all think in the chat? If you're just tuning in, we are having this risque. I guess I should just use that word again. You just heard it. We're having a risque conversation about OnlyFans. We're having this conversation because Bernie Mac star Camille Winbush, who is absolutely gorgeous and extremely talented, grew up as a child actor on the Bernie Mac show, went viral this week saying that she was explaining like, hey, like those Hollywood checks from my childhood and dried up. So I'm gonna go over ahead to this platform and I'm making money. And then she explained her reasons, her business, her financial reasons behind it. So we've covered this conversation here today on our Fly Nubian Money panel, and we've discussed the financial aspects of it, the educational or financial literacy aspects. We've talked about the generational wealth aspect. We talked about the female empowerment aspect of this conversation as well. And then we also had Tiara, who has lived in Hollywood for over 20 years and definitely does work in the industry, has a daughter in the industry, in the acting industry, discuss what it's really like with these closed doors and kind of coming up against brick walls. So this has been really, really informative. I know I've learned a lot because I just really didn't know that people were making this amount of money on OnlyFans. But as we close out, I want to have a conversation about, ladies, the glamorization of sex work. Is this something constructive that is needed in our community or in society in general? And what are your thoughts on that? I know that while I was living in New York, there was a whole movement, and the movement has caught on nationally to have rights and work like unions for men and women who are sex workers. And so it's a whole industry. I know when I was growing up and when our parents were growing up, it was basically seen as prostitution. It wasn't acceptable. But do we feel like platforms such as OnlyFans glamorizes sex work? And what do you think the impact is on the Black community, specifically our children? Because kids be looking at this stuff.
For sure. Do you want to answer that first, Athena?
Sure, I'll answer. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I think that OnlyFans could be glamorizing sex work. I think sex work has a lot of dangers. I have watched a lot of documentaries and I've actually talked to women who engage in such activities, and it's very dangerous. You are risking your life. You're risking your body to disease. You're risking this person wanting to kill you after. You're risking this person threatening your life and because you ask them to pay what their agreed upon price or whatever it is, right? So I have a lot of compassion for women in that situation. I never used to, but I found that they usually get into those things because they have no financial support, no family support, really, really broken homes, really, really bad situations, and they're just in a state of survival and risk their lives with strangers. Like, I couldn't even imagine. I don't even want to do anything with anybody when I'm tired, much less having to be forced to do anything to eat or like with someone I would even consider attractive. OnlyFans, I think this touches on something Camille said, because she said if she can do it from the comfort and safety of her home, why not? So I think it has opened the door to provide and commercialize sex work in a way where they don't have to take on that much risk. But I think in general, within the state of this society, especially here in America, we need to figure out what we're going to do as far as the sex industry is concerned. It doesn't seem, I mean, that industry has been the oldest industry in time. It doesn't seem like it's going to go away. And it's a product that sells itself. And it wouldn't be around if people weren't interested in engaging in it. So we need to have some kind of legislation around safety around it, but also the legality of it, because it's a thin line. Because one person can do porn, but another person can't do, we need to look at ourselves as a society as we're judging people, because we basically support and financially back those activities. Not saying me, but I'm just saying, like, as a general public.
I know that Pornhub is, if not the second, it's the third most visited site in the world, right? So we know that people are interested in it. There's just, there's men watch porn, women watch porn. The dangers is, like you said, Athena, it's not really regulated in a way, right? If you're on Pornhub, most people then connect their OnlyFans to that. And then there's if you want to subscribe, it's a thing. I'm big on documentary. I love documentaries. I make documentaries. And I've just been looking at lately I've been watching a lot of like BBL stuff, and black women or women talking about why they're getting their bodies done, particularly in our community, because there's been a I want to say there was like a 30% spike in the last like 5 years, right? Where, now yesterday I just watched something and a girl was just talking about like all of her friends had BBLs. Like I was in Pittsburgh last week talking to my cousin. She was like, all of my friends have BBLs, right? Obviously I'm walking, I'm in the place where I feel like it all started, where, at first you would be like, dang, I wonder how Cher stays so young. You didn't think that people would go and get like an afternoon like tip tuck and then go back to work. Like you didn't think it wasn't so accessible to us. But I guess my point is, and all of them saying is like there are repercussions of like women want to get BBLs and do those things so they can make the fast money, right? It's not like Camille wasn't making money. She was making money like teaching dance and doing ice cream or whatever. It just wasn't giving her Hollywood money. It wasn't giving her the fast money that comes along with like an OnlyFans. $360 million from Black China on OnlyFans over a course of a couple years is fast money. Like you can't argue with that. A 9 to 5 can't give that to you. And so there's a part of me, and I think I know you were saying that there are women that are. I mean, now I'm seeing professionals. I'm watching documentaries with professional women who are lawyers that do, OnlyFans at night. They're like, man, I'm making more during the, at night than like, why am I going to the firm during the day? So professional women are now even seeing like, I'm making more money in a couple months than I would make in a year at my firm. So it's not just women who are broken and have gone through trauma. Professional women are now looking towards platforms like these. And so I just think it's interesting. I think when I think about stuff like this, it's like, would I want my daughter to know I had an OnlyFans? Would I want my family, would that make me feel like um I sold myself out, like Suki says, like I was selling coochie. Like to me, in my mind, that's like selling coochie. I don't know. So I just can't be in the same place as a Suki Hana or like a Sexy Red. Like I can't. I'm not that. I went to school. I'm a respectable woman. I can't do that. So that's the way I feel about it. You know.
Agreed. Listen, what I will say is adults can do whatever they do in America as long as it's not hurting anybody. And these platforms definitely do need to be regulated, and because we need to make sure children do not have access to this stuff. I am a strong advocate of censorship for children in social media. Definitely Pornhub needs to be regulated. I know there's some legislation on the books. I believe it's in the state of Florida, one of the southern states that, was it Texas? I believe it could be Texas. I think it's Texas that literally banned OnlyFans from there. And I saw another country, I believe it was Italy, country in Europe, I believe it was Italy. Y'all can look this up. That is also blocking and banning OnlyFans. And fun sex fact, because I guess we're just talking about risque stuff as we wrap this panel up. Shout out to y'all for tuning in to Fly Nubian Money. It's time to have you over here, apparently.
Bow, 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 bow,
Bow,
bow.
bow, bow, bow.
So, did y'all understand? You know that Elon Musk has these satellites over the planet, and he gave a country, a remote tribe in a remote part of the world, in a very indigenous population, they got the internet for the first time. And now they are literally addicted to pornography. And there's interviews about it. You heard about that, Tiara,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then I read a whole bunch of stuff because, I'm a Black revolutionary for real, about pornography as a weapon of psychological warfare. So, and how, governments and operations definitely use pornographic images, pornography, porn addiction, sex addiction, etc., in order to destabilize populations. And so we want to have a whole conspiracy theory talk later on about these issues. We can definitely do that. That's why y'all need to text the word Queens to the number 87948 so you can be notified when we do talk about stuff that you're interested in right here at Fly Nubian Money, weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Fly Nubian Queen TV's network's YouTube channel. So we're going to go around and just give some final words, big takeaways. I want to shout out the chat. Shout out you ladies for joining today. Would love to hear your final thoughts as well as where we can follow you. Let's start with Miss Tiara.
Yeah, I was looking at the chat, and Primo Supreme says I need a sinus surgery. I am sick. I came on. I am sick. I am being nursed back to health.
And
I
we're
am
glad
being
that
nursed
you're
back to
here.
health. I was
That's
actually at the hospital yesterday, so I just wanted to come on and have this conversation. I'm definitely recovering. I'm definitely recovering. So, but thank you for your concern. I appreciate that. I don't usually sound like this, but I I think this has been a great discussion about I don't know if sex work or OnlyFans will ever stop existing, right? I don't know if that, if it's not OnlyFans, it'll be something else. Um, and I guess that's America, right? Or I guess that's the place where everybody can have the freedom to do what we have our own free will. We can do what we got to do, and there's options there for women to do what they got to do. If Camille needs money, and all the other ways don't feel like they suffice for her, she has an option to make money that feels safe for her. Like she said, she can get a home, so God bless her. I can be found at Miss Black Hollywood. That's MSBLACK Hollywood on all social media platforms. Yeah, holla at your girl.
Absolutely. Thank you, Athena.
We talked about a lot today. I want to also throw out this fun fact that the owner of Pornhub is a rabbi, a religious man, Solomon Friedman.
Yep, I heard about that. Yep.
Oh.
So it's very interesting
Mm-hmm.
who's in charge of the things we do in a society. Anyway, I know we discussed a lot of things and a lot of financial things. I think this segment should just remind us the importance of investing, taking care of ourselves, our own income, creating diversified income streams, creating a life, monetizing our talents. And that is what I offer to my clients and the women who sign up for my programs and coach with me. My name is Athena Gardner. I'm a CPA and a women's wealth coach. You can find me at wewealthwomen.com, at wewealthwomen on all social media platforms, and on my podcast called We Wealth Women.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I am Jade Harrell. I'm an educator, and you can find me at highblackesteem.com. I do coaching for activists and organizers, Black folks who have businesses that are interested in becoming philanthropists and who are interested in service and giving back to our community. So if you're interested in learning more about that, definitely go over there. My big takeaways, first of all, I want to apologize to Rudy again. I do apologize. I wanted to retract that statement. I got her mixed up. And it doesn't really matter really what people do in their life, honestly, because people grow. Like, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever. And people make decisions based off of the information and the knowledge and wisdom that they have in the moment, and they choose to do what they do. I'm not here to pass judgment on this topic. My main concern about platforms such as OnlyFans, Pornhub, etc., is the examples that it sets for our children, because they have access to the World Wide Web. And as an educator, I know what that looks like on a day-to-day basis when children are overly exposed to inappropriate content that is not age appropriate and that is not developmentally appropriate. And so I would urge society to make sure that we protect the sensibilities of children. So that is my main takeaway. But in terms of Camille, she's gorgeous. She's extremely talented. She's doing OnlyFans. That's her choice. if she feels comfortable and safe with it, hey, who am I to judge it? I just know that all of that content gets to be censored so that our children are not impacted by it. And that's not directed towards her, but just the industry in general. So I want to thank everybody for showing up today and coming to this panel. If you like this content, if you like the subject matter today, definitely share it. Post comments under the thread. And definitely text the word Queens to the number 87948. That way you'll be notified when we do go live on the platform. And join us here weekdays again at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Fly Nubian Queen TV's YouTube channel. Until next time, y'all, take care, peace and Black power, all the things. Thanks, ladies, for a risque conversation. Thank you. All right.